Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything, big houses, luxury cars, yet still feel empty inside? In this video, you'll discover why having wise teachers is more valuable than having many teachers, the surprising truth about your bookshelf that reveals who you really are, how the right circle of friends can transform your entire destiny, and wait until you hear the fascinating story of how one simple speaker, playing wisdom teachings, transformed an entire neighborhood, from troubled spirits to guardian angels. If you're tired of chasing material success and ready to discover what really brings lasting fulfillment, this video is for you. Most people take pride in having things like spacious houses, beautiful cars, or valuable possessions in their homes. But what about you? What are you proud to have in your home? What makes you feel proud about your home? Would anyone with a microphone like to share? You there in the green shirt, please share your thoughts.
Sir, I'm proud of my health knowledge, and secondly, that I have a bookshelf.
What kind of books? Romance novels or Doraemon?
Sir, there's self-development books and books about karma.
So which self-development books specifically?
Sir, they include the law of attraction, the power of your subconscious mind, the power of belief, unleash your unlimited potential, then books about karma management, health, and ethics. I do have your book, Sowing Seeds with Great Minds.
That thin book?
Yes, that's right.
That book is meant for children.
But sir, I'm still a child at heart because I found that book so wonderful.
Your bookshelf is missing the section on great historical figures and national heroes, and books about explorers. That kind of library is very important. For children's reading, books about great figures and heroes are much better than fairy tales. The lives of great figures are real-life fairy tale. These true stories are incredibly fascinating. Reading Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs will never be as engaging as stories about great historical figures. They're far more thrilling. Fairy tales are good for children to read, but even if they don't have access to them, reading about great historical figures will be much more effective. Books about great figures are about real people and real events, not something someone made up. Now, does anyone else have something else they're proud of? Are you proud of having a big house? A luxury car you just bought? Whatever you're proud of, it's probably on your Facebook. I just need to look on Facebook. I see you all posting lots of food pictures, showing you're proud of your drinking parties, constantly flaunting the car you bought, proud of your new vehicle. And I rarely see any of you sharing your bookshelves or posting about a great book, taking a photo of an interesting page to share with others, giving a brief review. Very few people do this. So one of the three treasures, the essence of human wisdom, you've let slip away. Asian people have let it slip away. Asian people haven't had the habit of reading books for a long time now. Isn't that right? This is a nationwide problem, not your personal fault. But if we keep blaming external factors, we'll never develop the awareness to change. Instead of saying it's the nation's fault, we must work on improving ourselves. So what we take pride in matters greatly. Most Asian take pride in having money, grand houses, and vehicles. Most of us only take pride in what our physical self can enjoy. We never take pride in our wisdom, in our heart, in how generous we are. These aren't things we celebrate. Yet books are the true nourishment for our mind and heart. Books of wisdom are essential nourishment for both mind and spirit. There's a saying among Jewish people that a nation that doesn't read has no future. Think about that deeply. When I hear people claim that our nation can find shortcuts to success and development, I simply cannot believe it. How can people who don't cherish reading hope to find genuine shortcuts to progress? It's like we're all running on a circular track. We're moving so slowly that others have completed full laps around us. Yet when they're about to pass us again, we proudly declare, "Look, I'm ahead of you," without realizing we're actually far behind. This is the illusion we're living in. Jewish mothers seriously teach their children that books are where wisdom is stored, and wisdom is more precious than money and jewels because no one can steal it from you. They teach their children to plant the sweetness of books in their subconscious by putting drops of honey on book pages for children to taste. This means that before children can read, when they open a book, they turn the pages, smell them, and taste them. From this, they develop a love for books. Help your child love books before teaching them to read. Loving books is crucial. My method of helping my child love books is simple. I take them to the bookstore every week. When my child was tiny, before they could walk, when they were just crawling and learning to walk, I was already taking them to bookstores. I let them choose books from shelves with lots of colors because children are naturally drawn to colorful things. They'll reach out, take books down, flip through them, and even scatter them around. However, you must be patient about reorganizing the books, and if they damage or dirty any books, you should buy them new ones. In this way, books become like toys for them. But if you give children phones as toys, they'll become addicted to phones later. Let children interact with books, because interaction creates connection. When children interact with books, they form a bond with books. The Jewish people believe that souls also read books, which is why they place books in cemeteries. Though their belief is somewhat naive, because souls can't turn book pages. They need to play Dharma talks through speakers in the cemetery and have someone read to the souls so they can listen. Many souls are quite lazy too. They can't turn pages. They can only read book titles, so they don't understand what's inside. They must play Dharma talks for the souls to hear, and because of this, the cemetery becomes more peaceful, and the souls become better behaved. Try this experiment when you get home. Take this Dharma speaker. It has 1668 soul-nurturing lectures by 10 famous Zen masters from around the world. Among these are 1668 lectures. If you listen to one lecture a day, taking about an hour and a half each, you'll finish them all in 3.5 years. If you play them continuously, it would take about 4 to 6 months, listening 10 to 20 hours per day. If you bring the speaker to the cemetery and play it non-stop, it would only take a few months for the cemetery to hear everything. In the same way, you can take a speaker and hang it in a beer pub, playing these teachings continuously. That place will naturally improve over time. People with negative behaviors will stop coming. After a few months, the shop will become less crowded. This means it has been transformed. Those who aren't of like mind won't want to come anymore because their mindset doesn't align with that environment. People who are greedy and only seek pleasure will have to listen to ethical teachings. They won't be able to stand it and will leave on their own. Thus, without having to chase them away, they will depart by themselves. Thus, Dharma talks through speakers serve as a highly effective charm, what could be called a spiritual talisman. You can use Dharma talk speakers to naturally distance negative influences. If your family's business isn't doing well and you suspect spiritual interference, instead of inviting a spiritual master for rituals and using traditional charms, you can try a different approach. Here's they place books in cemeteries. You can put Dharma talk speakers in your house if there has been a suicide, playing them for the spirit to hear. After about 3 months, they will become benevolent spirits, no longer disturbing the residents, but quietly protecting the house. Inadvertently, you'll gain an unpaid house guardian. They will protect you out of appreciation. At this point, they're no longer called ghosts, but rather beneficial spirits or guardian angels. Therefore, when you visit any house with spiritual presences, especially near cemeteries, turn the speakers up as loud as possible. Let them listen all day, and after about 6 months, these spirits will transform, come to appreciate you, and follow you. You'll become like a spiritual guide, with disciples wherever you go. When you meet psychic mediums, they'll tell you that you have many good friends. I've applied this technique many times. This house has heard many teachings. When I rented this house 3 or 4 years ago, the first thing I did was turn on Dharma talks, resolving everything. You know, Any house sits on land that's been there for thousands of years. And certainly beneath that land there are at least a few graves. It's unavoidable. Those graves could be decades, centuries, or millennia old, we don't know. It's quite normal that when you break ground for construction, the foundation might encounter these graves. The only way to handle this is through Dharma talks, as you can't know where the graves are. Responding to harm with kindness will effectively dissolve any negativity. So when we break ground, we don't need to check the lunar calendar for good dates, invite spiritual masters, or perform any rituals. Because we had 3 to 6 months to transform the land, the karma of the land was changed, all thanks to just this speaker. Consider this. There's a remarkable message from the Japanese professor's water experiments. He played just one sutra chant at a polluted dam. The distorted water molecules became round and beautiful again. When he played folk music and traditional dances near the polluted water for an extended period, something remarkable happened. Under a microscope magnified thousands of times, you could see the water molecules transform from their initial distorted, strange shapes into beautiful round forms that resembled blooming flowers. And this dramatic change came from just playing simple folk songs and sutras. Let me ask you, if we use the wisdom teachings of our ancestors, it's much more powerful than that music. The transformation is very powerful, so you can confidently apply this. Try taking this home, place it by your bedside, and when your husband is asleep, quietly turn on the speaker. For those whose husbands drink too much, secretly play it. If he listens long enough subconsciously, he'll stop drinking. Of course, if he wakes up and breaks the speaker, well, that's unfortunate. He hasn't transformed yet, that's why he broke it. Jewish people are the only ethnic group in the world with no illiteracy. Even their beggars have books beside them. Reading isn't just a habit for them. It's a necessity, like breathing. They cannot live without reading. Isn't that remarkable? That's why Jewish people win so many Nobel Prizes. Proportionally, they have the highest rate, while Germans hold the most Nobel Prizes in absolute numbers because their population is much larger than the Jewish population. In terms of percentage, Jewish people rank first. Together, Germans and Jews account for 80% of Nobel Prizes worldwide, with Germans alone claiming 50%. As for Vietnam and China, if Chinese people continue not reading books, China will pay a price for this in the future. On a flight from Frankfurt to Shanghai, the author was surprised to discover that most Chinese passengers were playing games or watching movies on their iPads. Meanwhile, most German passengers were reading books. Many foreign tourists visiting China have noticed there are very few bookstores there. When comparing with massage parlors in China, massage places are everywhere as Chinese people tend to favor indulgence, while in Vietnam, there are too many beer restaurants. So what do you do to reduce this? Think about what you can do to improve the situation. When someone invites you drinking, just invite them to a coffee shop instead. Actually, in the past, I was often invited to drink by friends, but after the 3rd time, no one invited me anymore. When I went there, I was a champion eater. Within half an hour, whatever dishes they brought out, I cleaned them all up. Then I just stand up and leave, so they had to pay the bill. Since I ate everything while they only had beer, they got frustrated. If they ordered more food, I'd stay, and within 5 minutes, that plate would be empty too. I ate extremely fast and a lot, then would quietly leave, making them so annoyed that no one dared invite me again. If you just refuse their invitation, they'll say you're looking down on them, right? But in my case, I participated so enthusiastically, what more could they say? What can you do to reduce this? Start by posting fewer photos of drinking parties on Facebook. Instead, try sharing more about positive cultural activities. Gradually decrease posts that celebrate indulgence and drinking. Be brave, each person doing their small part, and slowly, like an oil stain spreading, like cells multiplying, the influence will keep expanding. You'll see strange phenomena after 5 to 15 years. Naturally, these drinking problems will gradually decrease. But if we don't take action, the door will never open. If you don't knock, the door won't open. So be brave. Each person should knock on that door. Don't be hesitant. Once, about 10 years ago, I went to Singapore to start a business. When I traveled to Singapore, I carried a 40-kilogram suitcase, but only about 10 kilograms was clothing and personal items. The other 30 kilograms was just books. I took along all the good books I had, about 30 or 40 volumes, to set up a small bookshelf at the company I was establishing there. Then some Vietnamese students studying at NUS and other universities nearby would drop by. They fell in love with my bookshelf, so they came to my company every day to read. Every day they would come to read, and then they asked me, "Brother, you're doing this, bringing books not just for yourself, but for us to read too." Some people say this kind of work is useless because one swallow doesn't make a summer. But I told the students, let others think what they want. One swallow may not make a summer, but it announces summer's arrival. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't be afraid. So in the future, when you see good deeds and righteous actions, remember to like and share them extensively. Tag others in these posts. When you see a police officer carrying an elderly woman across a puddle, helping with a bicycle, or cleaning up for citizens, especially share posts about police and military personnel doing good deeds, because these groups rarely get positive attention. When you find someone doing good work, praise them to the skies immediately. Praise them highly so others will see and feel motivated to do the same. They'll read it on Facebook, and their wives at home will see it too, thinking, my husband has never done anything like this, but these other officers are getting such praise. Then maybe that officer will spend less time hiding at intersections and instead appear more often to help citizens. Life isn't just about making money. Who knows? Things might change. Be brave. Keep being brave. About creating a happy environment. At our school, where are our 3 treasures? Those of you who have children studying at Duke can understand this somewhat. We're trying to build the 3 treasures at Duke School. This means teachers must truly be teachers, students must truly be students, and parents must truly be parents. The challenge of getting parents to fulfill their proper role is still giving us quite a headache. I'm planning that next year there will be a multiple choice test for parents. If parents fail this test, they won't be able to enroll their children at our school. Parents must pass this questionnaire. Within this system, there are some mandatory classes. Without taking these classes, they won't receive priority consideration. Without studying, they'll pay 100% of the fees. If they study seriously and pass the questionnaire, they'll receive a 5 to 10% discount. For example, instead of paying $275, they'll only need to pay $235 after completing these classes. This demonstrates that parents are in harmony with the school's philosophy. When teachers truly fulfill their role, students will fulfill theirs. It's simply the principle of the 3 treasures. When students get home, their parents become their teachers. If parents don't set an example, how can they teach their students? This is how we gradually evolve in. We need to look again at the 3 treasures. Some people are confused, which is why I created this slide. Some misunderstand the 3 treasures. The 3 treasures are the most important elements in our living environment that we must choose carefully. There are 3 crucial elements. The first element is wise teachers. A wise teacher is distinctly different from the notion that everyone can be your teacher. A wise teacher is different from having no teacher at all. If you disregard teachers, thinking you are your own best teacher, that's a misconception. A wise teacher must be a real person, physically present. Someone you can talk to, connect with, and learn from in a classroom. Only then are they worthy of being called a teacher. The second element is a good library. Books, stories, newspapers, movies. You can consume all of these, but they don't constitute a quality library. A quality library must contain essential works, works of true wisdom. This distinction must be crystal clear. Similarly, drinking buddies, business associates, casual friends, wives who don't fulfill their role as wives, husbands who don't fulfill their role as husbands, these do not constitute a circle of good friends. Just because someone is nice to you doesn't automatically make them a good friend. Sometimes they're nice because they're doing business with you. Sometimes they're nice because they drink with you. The day you stop drinking, they turn nasty. That's not a true friend. Remember this. I call these random treasures, not the three treasures. Integrating the three treasures into your own family life. Build your three treasures, meaning your connections. You must establish how to connect with your good library at home, how to connect with good friends, and how to connect with meaningful classes and wise teachers. You need to make a specific plan for 1 year. If you haven't attended 1 or 2 good classes in a year, you need to reassess yourself. If you haven't read 5 to 10 good books in a year, you also need to reassess. If you can't read, then make the effort to listen to Dharma talks, listen to good teachings, essential wisdom. You must listen regularly. And regarding your friend group, any bad friends, drinking buddies, those who encourage wasteful activities, those who engage in idle gossip, those who spread negativity, remove them from your contacts, delete them from Facebook. Don't hesitate to do it. There's nothing to fear. Keep only good friends. If you can establish such a plan, you must gradually develop these 3 treasures in your life. Find teachers for different aspects: health without medication, career development, family psychology and child rearing, and spiritual guidance, especially in Vipassana meditation. This is very important. For your good library, keep books about great individuals, essential works, and quality films. For educational films, I particularly enjoy Ikkyu-san. For books, we already have 2 USB collections with 1210 articles and 120 audiobooks about national heroes, great individuals, personal development, child rearing, and everything about nurturing the soul, spirituality, character, and morality is also concluded. This collection can quickly transform the karma of a place. It can quickly change the karma of a drinking establishment. It can transform the karma of your loved ones. Give it to them to listen to. It will change gradually. For elderly mothers in the countryside with lots of free time, give them this speaker. Tell them to listen. Once they've listened to 50 lessons, promise to take them on an overseas trip. So parents listen and take the trip. During the trip, continue playing the recordings. On the train, in the car, let them keep listening, keep absorbing. After a 7-day trip, they'll have listened to hundreds, maybe 200 lessons. People need to listen frequently to develop appreciation. With limited listening, they won't understand or see the value. With sustained listening, it sinks in, and naturally, their interest in it grows over time. Once they love it, when they return home, they'll listen voluntarily. It's that simple. It's not difficult at all. Now, evaluate your good friends. Are your school friends truly good? Your neighbors? Your colleagues and life partner, are they good? Is your boss a good friend? With bosses, there are 2 scenarios. If they're highly skilled and ethical, they become teachers. If they're average, they're just friends. But if they're good friends, maintain respect and keep the relationship. Now you must make this plan. Boldly declare, I am determined to build my 3 treasures. Your chances of success are higher than staying silent.